point. Every point is little different. So they said no.
So customer retention is nothing but the word explains by itself, retaining your customer. Why should you retain your customer? I used to share a very interesting picture, which unfortunately I couldn't share today. So this picture is about a person, a man, going and fetching water from a pond close by. And while he walks towards the garden or to his home, there is a hole in the water, pot, and the water keeps going out constantly, right? So end of the day, by the time he reaches home, almost the water is gone. Or every time he goes and fetches this water and comes. The point is, every marketing initiative that we do, any marketing initiative that we do, we usually invest quite a lot of time, money, effort to acquire new customers. Yes or no? We invest a lot of time, money, and efforts to acquire new customers. But once we acquire new customers, once we sell to a customer, what happens in the process? Once we make a sale to a customer, what is the probable outcome after we make a sale with a customer? What are the probable outcomes? Assume you find a customer, let it be service or product. What is the outcome from it? After a customer does a purchase from us and uses our product or service, what is the feeling of the customer post that? Either the customer likes our product or has no great opinion about our product or hates our brand or product, correct? There are only three possibilities, right? So the first possibility is a customer who likes our product. This customer, is there a probability that this customer can become our repeated customer? What is the probability that this customer forgets to buy from us? When does a customer, a happy customer, forget to buy from us? In today's competitive environment, do you think there is a high chance that a customer's loyalty constantly keeps straying around? Do you think there is a high chance? Yes, because there's a lot of competition and there's absolutely a lot of options for them. So especially when a customer is happy with your product, it's so important for us to retain this customer, because only when you retain the customers, your lifetime value of a customer increases. What is lifetime value of a customer? Last session, I actually explained what's the lifetime value of a customer. Anybody? Anyone who likes to give it a try? Give me a yes, you can unmute and speak. Otherwise, I'll go on. But please give me an answer. Yes, anybody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? A lifetime value of a customer is, say, once is the overall purchase a customer does with your brand, right? Say for 10 continuous years, if the customer, see, first time when I buy from you, probably I might buy for 500 rupees. But later on, I might buy for 100, once I might buy for 10,000, right? But end of the day, in a period of 10 years, if I'm being nurtured properly and retained properly, my lifetime value is the total amount of sale that could be done in potentially 10 years or until the customer keeps buying from us. So how can you increase your lifetime value? By retaining your customer, by constantly engaging with them and doing things to maintain them. So while it is important for us to start looking for new customers, it's very important for us to serve our existing customers so that the lifetime value with the same customer increases. Does this make sense to you? Yes, give me a thumbs up if this makes sense to you, right? So that is the reason you have to put some conscious effort and action plan towards retaining your customer. Why? Because a happy customer already has a taste of you. There is not going to be any second thoughts because they've already trusted you. So instead of, I mean, you should obviously keep looking at new customers, but remember, your sale is one step closer when you are going to serve your existing customers. And that is why customer retention is very, very important. And second thing, the probability of an existing customer, a happy existing customer buying from you is higher than the probability of a new customer buying from you. Do you get the point? And second thing, the ROI, the next thing, ROI, return on investment. There is something called customer acquisition cost, if you're aware of, right? So this customer acquisition cost, that is, what is customer acquisition cost? The amount of money that you've spent to acquire one customer. Let it be a social media advertisement, or let it be even investing in a stall. Say you spend about 20,000 or 5,000 to put up a stall, and you get around 100 clients. Whatever money spent divided by the number of clients is your customer acquisition cost. Okay, number of clients, or yeah, who is a customer end of the day? Is it the leads or number of customers who paid to you? It's the number of people who paid to you, right? So others are database, right? So there could be database which can be nurtured for future, but if you have X number of customers who paid to you, that is how you find a customer acquisition cost. So when you divide, you will get a customer money spent versus a number of customers received, right? So that is equal to your customer acquisition cost, right? So when you acquire, logically, okay, forget the formula, I'll put the formula in the group, but then the logic is amount of money that you spend. So now if you actually notice, you might notice that the amount of money you invested versus the money that you received in that stall. Say you invested 25,000, but your total sale from that stall is 1 lakh. So you can actually say that you received a 75,000 profit from that sale. But is that it? No. Say you've got about 5 customers from there. If you retain these 5 customers, you can increase that return of investment by paying 25,000. That day sale is 1 lakh. But maintaining and nurturing this customer for 10 more years, you can convert this 1 lakh into even a crore. So that day's 25,000 doesn't end there. So if you're spending on an event or any activity, remember, getting even one customer is valuable, and you can increase your return on investment by nurturing them for the future and increasing the lifetime value. Does this make sense to you? Yes. So how many of you follow up and have a complete customer retention and refollow up, repurposing strategies? How many of us follow that in our business? On your chat box. On the chat box here. Customer retention strategy. Yes, I have a highly effective customer retention strategy. Yes, no, maybe, partially, but give some answer. Okay. Okay. So now moving on. Okay, you do follow up. Very good. So are there results for your follow up? Are there results for your follow up? That's very important, right? So some of the customer retention strategies. So now a well-crafted retention initiative can foster long-term customer loyalty, drive repeat purchases, and boost brand advocacy. So especially when somebody comes and says, I buy from this store for almost 20 years now. That's a brand advocacy, right? For almost from the time they started, I'm a member with this forum. That's a brand advocacy. Ultimately contributing to sustainable business growth. So the number of years you're able to retain a customer shows the brand's promise to the customer. So ask yourself this question. What is the longevity in years of your customer. It can be even we've always discussed internal customers, external customers, your staffs, right? How long have your staffs been with you? That could talk volumes about your brand, and you can take necessary steps for longevity, right? Next, deliver outstanding customer service. So I have actually given you the strategy as well as some examples here, right? So focus on personalized support, example, 24/7 availability, proactive issue resolution to ensure customer feel valued. So outstanding customer service. Can one of you tell me, see, most of us, we actually say a consultative approach, right? So what is that? What are the steps that you've taken personally in your brand to improve customer service for your customers? What is your personal step? Have you focused on creating an outstanding experience for your customer? So what is that step that you have taken? Anybody would like to share? Anybody? Think about it. If you do not have any, it's time you document the way in which you treat your customers. Suruchi, would you like to share? If anybody likes to share, unmute and start speaking. Suruchi, would you like to share? Unmute.
In this particular area, I would just wanted to share that, once if you're following up, especially, if there's a person who's asked for a certain product and we've shared it, and then we wait for a reply. Say, for example, I don't have kurtis, but you asked for kurtis. So I said, okay, let me check around in my circle and I'll send you the details. So after that, it's always the follow-up that works. And if that works out, then, later on, the strategy in terms of providing, as you said, 24/7 support would be constantly going back to them, especially with the offers. If you have certain offers in terms of your sales, or say, since you bought once from me, for the next time that you're looking at, come back to me and ask for a 10% discount anytime you want to buy something. That kind of a strategy generally works in product systems. That's what I've seen, because people, just like
So,
to.
Suruchi, what I'm trying to understand or ask you is there any unique style that you personally follow for your customer service? Any unique style that you follow for your customer service?
So, from my end, I do my best to give, the response, respond to them on time, first of all.
Okay.
Then comes, yes, the follow-up part. And if, somehow it does not work out, then also I just say that, do stay in touch, and where to find me. If you want something that is what I have. If today I don't have something, that's all right. But maybe tomorrow you might be wanting something. And if possible, then, ask for permission in terms of if I get start an offer or start something else, should I be sharing it to you? So that, completely changes the game.
Okay. So let me now ask the others, okay? In the recent times, any brand that you used, anywhere that you felt, wow, outstanding customer service? Is there any place that you felt that you had? Example, we have Zappos example here. See this, I'm going to spend a little time on this because this is the most important. Anything else that we do could be an add-on. But this is the most important. Delivering outstanding customer service is the most important because that's one thing that we do on a everyday basis. Give me a second. Okay, so Zappos, for example, if you notice, they have this culture where they stay online, and especially when it comes to the customer care executives, they are not given a script. They are asked to cater to the customer based on whatever they want. Okay, so that makes them very, very unique. Okay, and recently I'll give you my own example from Zepto, right? Zepto or Instamart for that matter. The speed in which, how many of you order from Zepto or Blinkit? Yeah, do we all order from Zepto or Blinkit? So if you notice in Zepto, yesterday, I've moved into a new space and I realized that I didn't bring extra bedspreads. But I realized in Zepto, I was able to get bedspreads in less than 10 minutes, including bedspreads, anything, almost everything. I've still not seen apparels. But then apart from that, your kitchenware, your bedware, everything. Earlier, it used to be only groceries. But here you want anything, you get that so quickly, including pillows in hardly 10 minutes. So there, outstanding customer service. End of the day, the service is too good. And if I have to give an informal setup, I live in a high rise, and we had this. We had a person from outside, a vendor, who basically takes care of it's a new apartment, so basically takes care of everything: ironing, car cleaning, and the speed of service is so good that you're almost pampered, right? So something which customer, like, I mean, nobody came and told me to talk about them here, but I've at least shared their numbers to 10, 15 people here, whoever moves in, right? So these are some exceptional customer service which is actually delivered. Is there any brand that you came across recently that had a wow element when it came to customer service? Probably you didn't even stop to realize it. When do you remember a brand? Sometimes most of us, only when we have a bad experience, or 100 times if we followed them up, we will probably remember them with that negative emotion. But sometimes certain brands make it so easy for us that we don't even consciously realize that we transacted with a brand. Is there any such example that any brand that inspired you recently with their customer service? It could be shopping, it could be going outside, or it could be online, anywhere. Have you experienced outstanding customer service? Anybody? Any brand around you? Big, small? Can I understand why this audience is like dumb and dead? I really personally want you to be interactive, because I understand it's post-lunch and it's post-lunch for me too. And I will not be able to draw energy unless I have a very active audience here. Because end of the day, we are all wanting to build our business. And if you've got to build your business, you've got to be with so much of energy. You need to have 100% energy when you want to build a big brand. Anything? I am sure all of us would have for sure come across some brand, but we didn't notice. Shweta, would you like to share?
So there was this one fashion, like a lot of brands have been doing it, but one thing that stands out from me was this fashion brand I ordered from, and I wanted it to be a very express delivery. So now when someone, the brand was taking well and above, it was going beyond its shipping time to help me get my product, because it was a gift. So that's why now that brand was basically this brand, Freakin's brand. So now the jeans brand. So that is now always stuck in my head. So because they did one step extra where they over delivered. They didn't usually, I think in such brands they over promise and under deliver, but here they over delivered. So that
Very
I
nice.
think was a good experience I had with.
Perfect. I think I can also remember Go Colors for that matter. See, customer service does not have to be just the way you're treated. It's also about satisfying your customer with your product. So, especially for an Indian body, Go Colors never lets you down. I mean, at least for my body type. Whenever I go there, I've always found something. Right? So probably they've taken up bottom wear, and they're almost mastering bottom wear. So that's again another experience that I could share. Anybody else would like to share? So from now, if possible, take one exercise today. It's very important as entrepreneurs to have an eye on every little brand out there. I'm sure you would have come across, but you probably consciously don't notice. But it's important for us to consciously notice because we can learn and we can also implement, right? So Suruchi, if you it doesn't have to be recent. It can even be something earlier, but probably, you start looking at it. Maybe you will find some. So next most important customer retention strategy is create a seamless onboarding process, which is your first time buying experience, right? Like what Shweta mentioned right now. That was her first time, which had a real good experience. Probably she's talking about the brand here because she had that experience. So it's always like this, okay? I'm sure psychologists, if you all are here, you will realize that. Generally, when you say blue car, you will start noticing all the blue cars, or it's a red car. You start noticing if your mind is put to certain things, it's tuned into certain things, you will start identifying such positive things automatically. But if you're tuned in to find out, but yeah, it is important to also spot the good, bad, and the evil. But because everything gives us a learning. From few brands, we may want to be like them. From few brands, we will definitely not want to be like them. But both the learnings are equally important to us. But have an eye for both good and the bad, right? That's very, very important. So here, having a seamless onboarding process, that's very, very, very critical. So simplify the process so that there is a guided experience and regular check-ins. And most of the times, especially when it comes to online products, when you have a very simple onboarding process, it's easier for your prospects and customers to otherwise, and especially today in the distractions that we have, we don't want too much time to be spent, right? We have so much of distraction. So make sure that your onboarding process or your payment, especially if you're into products, your payment process is very seamless. There's not too much of distractions before they actually reach the payment gateway, right? So Slack is a communication, a multi-communication platform where one can organize for their business, and their user-friendly onboarding experience with in-app guides and tutorials that can ease. So basically, if you go and see Slack, that's the convenience that they have. Today, many online brands especially focus on onboarding process. And also sometimes when we go into retail stores, while billing, they onboard us into the club, right? So because they know, when they ask us, hey, go back and get into our club, we don't really do that. But over here, they automatically onboard us into a club and they give us a club card. So that's also one more way of doing it. Anybody at any point in time, if you want to stop me and if you want to, yes, loyalty program, obviously. So end of the day, getting them into our network. So the point here is that first sale. How do you get them to comfortably get to that first sale? So first one is customer service. End of the day, you have everything else. And if you don't have customer service, the customer does not even look back, right? So when they start looking, once they like the product, the first experience of that first transaction should be very seamless once again. So that's another. So when you actually look at the entire process, from the time you have your first encounter with your customer to their first sale and post-sale to increase the LTV, every step has to be very carefully curated and meticulously, that pathway for them should be made very, very comfortable. Anyway, midway, they feel they are not being taken care of, they'll obviously go. See, we have that problem. Sometimes we think, hey, this customer is easygoing, like she is always going to be there, and we start neglecting that customer and we'll start focusing on the troublemaker. But actually, if you notice, this customer is more important for us. It's a habit which we have. We tend to take people who makes it easy for us for granted. That is something that we need to very consciously be aware of, because these people are your loyalists, and never neglect your loyalist. Make sure you treat them well, and then there is a separate strategy for the ones who you want to woo. And I don't know, I think that's a psychological thing. You really neglect people who really show you response, right? We have to be super conscious in that part. The third point is regular and personalized communication. And see, one point what I want to tell you is, it is not about price always. Okay, it's not about the price always. It's not about discounts always. Last session, when we actually saw the different kinds of customers, discount customer, loyal customer, and then we tried to understand laggards, early adopters, right? So you would have understood that not all customers are the discount customers. Again, don't try to identify yourself with your customer profile. Okay, many of us will tend to do that. If we like discounts, we'll think all our customers will like discounts. If we don't like discounts, we'll think all our customers won't like discounts. No, you are different, your customers are different, and not all customers are the same. And all of them have different percentage of preferences. You need to get that completely right. And that is why last week's session was so important, so that you can understand your customer and curate your programs or packages accordingly, right? So here, regular and personalized, how many of you have seen these Swiggy, I guess, right? Shweta, that's Swiggy which keeps sending flirty messages, right? Zomato, right? So a regular and personalized communication, making heads turn. And probably with tech. Okay, you must watch this ID's Mustafa's video on your story. I'll share it in the group. He will have a very beautiful statement about, we are not a food company, we are a tech company. That's what he says. Okay, they use technology to minimize waste, to understand buying patterns. Okay, so, and based on that, they actually deliver, they produce, right? So here, if you notice, most of their, I don't know, best example why I bought an ID is, personally, they communicate to the target audience and they know their market really well. Okay, so that's a very important interview. Maybe next week, next session, we'll do this. I will send you a case study, a video, and then we will decode that case study in the session on Tuesday. Learnings from the brand. We will do that next whole month, this whole month. We will do every week, we will do a video and decoding learnings from that brand. That will really elevate quite a lot of decision making for your brands, right? We'll do that. So I will send that video. That will be a pre-read. So during the session, we will watch the video once again and probably, go ahead with the case study discussion. Fine. That should be good because we've just finished with this set of topics. So before we start the next set of topics, we will do that, right? So, okay, somebody started meddling with the whiteboard, I guess. So please don't do that. I don't know how to take it out, right? So, yeah. Regular and personalized communication. And again, in that, it's not always about offers. So offer exclusive and valuable content. This is the trend right now, educating your market, because everybody, you have a tough competition. Now, why do brands come up with educational content? It's because it's the way they want to show the prospect or the customer that we know what we're doing. We just don't sell, but there's a lot of thought that goes into what we do, making the right product or anything for that matter. So this content marketing has become very critical today because there are a lot of products coming in the market, equally good. So now the brand has to come out and put themselves there, showcasing them as the conscious, subject-rich, knowledge-rich makers of the product. And that is why curated offers and valuable content is being offered, right? Sephora, for that matter. Sephora, the beauty insider program, gives a lot of tutorials, insider tips around beauty. So they try to build that knowledge-based community inside, so that end of the day, they build up the customer loyalty through their content, and then through the subscribers, they push sale, push offers, push branding, brand their product and create a reach for their product. So offer exclusive and valuable content. Okay, whenever we discuss all this, don't try to jump in and execute all of it together. Take one strategy a month, try to build on that strategy and experiment it. There will be a set of learning that you get, and then scale it up, right? Next. Build a community around a brand, obviously. So most of these fitness brands, if you notice, or any brand for that matter, I think one of my sessions, I told you about me participating in an off-road drive by Duster when it was Renault, Nissan, and Duster were together. They built a community, and I'm sure you know about the Superbikes and Royal Enfield. They have a huge community of bikers, riders, right? So community always helps to aggregate niche market. You clearly know these are the interested lot, and you are able to tempt that lot a bit. They are definitely going to buy in, right? So building that community and community loyalty is very, very, very important, right? Create a space for customers to connect, share tips, and engage directly with brands, fostering a sense of belonging. But we also have this, another fear. If you notice, many small brands have this issue. We know there's competition out there. We need to understand, we need to put away our insecurities. Whether you're going to put your customers together or not, your customers are already outside networking with each other on FB and everywhere. But why should that not be your place? All your brand, people who buy your brand can be together and discuss. Of course, there will be a couple of negative comments coming in, but take that as a feedback and move on. But many a times, entrepreneurs don't want their customers to meet each other because they're so scared that they will bitch about us and they'll end up, influencing each other negatively. But whereas you can never stop anybody from, engaging with each other. Rather, you be that person who puts them to, facilitates that bitching and take that as a positive feedback. And then you can improvise on your brand. Think about this. Okay. And only when you can do this, only when you have the mindset to receive feedbacks. Second thing, be open to receiving feedbacks. Good feedbacks, great. But bad feedbacks are the opportunity for you to become better. Okay. And especially a warning that I always give entrepreneurs is, don't get carried away by awards, recognitions, and praises. Take, feel, chill, feel good, move on to your next task. Treat success the way you treat failure. Don't stick on both. It's not good for you. Take the learnings, take the pride, live the moment, move on. The most dangerous, not even failure, success. If it hits here and if it stays here for too long, you'll sink. So don't let it weigh you down. Okay, this is a little outside the topic, but then this has been the downfall for a lot of people out there. Okay, so don't let anything come and occupy your space. You don't need endorsements from outside. And you know when your mind will need endorsements from outside? Only when you don't know your runway. Only when you don't know your runway, right? Your runway, that is when you know that your vision is out there and there's a long way for you to go. Whether it's a failure or a success, it's just one more day for you because you know that your road to reach your vision is way far and any of this is a distraction to us. All right. So if you don't know your destination, then this might sit in your headspace because it's ideal, right? So remember this is a point for you to ponder, really ponder, right? But are awards important? Very important. For whom? Not for us. To who are customers outside? Personal brand building. It's essential, but not for us. Remember that it's not for us. How we endorse ourselves is more important than how the world perceives us, right? As long as you know you're right, as long as you know your weakness, and as long as you know that you're working on your weaknesses, you're getting there, right? So building a community around a brand is very essential. Allow your customers to meet each other. That's the best thing. Okay. And look at the positive side of it. All right. Next. Provide value beyond the product. Offer post-purchase support, exclusive add-ons, relevant cross-sells and upsell to show continued commitment to the customer success. See, last week when we were discussing some point, we came up with this thing. Whenever you probably customer orders from you, try to collaborate with one of your fellow WeDo member. And if they have any new launch and if they can sample, say to 50 customers, send their packets along with this and tell them that you're introducing another fellow women entrepreneur to them so that their impression about your brand, you personally, goes higher. Wow, I'm proud to support a brand that is supporting another woman entrepreneur. That will be the impression. Psychologically, you will be able to create to your prospect, to your customer. And also, this goes as a surprise to them along with the parcel. Or this goes, if it's a service, it goes as a surprise to them. Right? So figure out ways, but see if you could do this. Okay. So value beyond product. So Apple has this Genius bar, if you notice, which provides free post-purchase support to customers, allowing them to get personalized help with their devices. This support service enhances customer loyalty by providing valuable assistance beyond their initial sale. So next, analyze customer feedbacks and improve continuously. We spoke about this, right? Analyzing customer feedbacks and improving continuously. So Airbnb, if you notice, they regularly collect and act on customer feedbacks up to update their platform. And Airbnb I've seen is one of the most authentic review places. You can literally, they classify as host, super host, and you really know that you're actually going to end up in the right space until and unless you're very price conscious and you're not reading reviews. It's never been wrong. It's never gone wrong. The reviews are very, very, most of the times legitimate when it comes to Airbnb, and they also help their host improve their stay area. Next, implement a referral program. It's tough because today there are a lot of referral programs that roll out. It can be few. Your loyal referrers can be absolutely few in number, but then don't fail to do that. Like, as I told you, I recently bought a Act subscription. Every other day, it's been a month, but every week, thrice, I get a message saying that refer somebody to Act and you get 1,000 rupees waiver on your next bill, something like that, right? So maybe someday I might feel, hey, now my subscription, 3 months right now, I mean, I've already subscribed for 6 months. So when I'm nearing that 6 month, maybe, or any friend of mine asks me, I might say, go for Act. I have a subscription a coupon, use it, right? We are humans and we might tend to do that, right? So don't neglect, but come up with a referral program and implement it. Next, Measure retention metrics and optimize. Right? We spoke about our customer lifetime value. Measure, say you've acquired about 10 customers, measure and see how many customers have retained with you in this year. You will be able to analyze the buying pattern, but measure. You figure out, even if you figure out your own way of measuring, but make sure you measure the retention of your customers. So these are the 10 most important points that you can take as steps for you to retain your customer. This could appear like a very simple topic, but this is a topic which will optimize and validate and expand your spend. So if you're spending and if you want to maximize the return on investment to your spend on a long term, your customer retention strategy is very, very, very critical. And these are some of the latest and the modern methodologies, also the things that are practiced right now. So if there are any questions in terms of you dealing with your customers, we can take those questions right now. Or if you had any issues dealing with your customers, we can address those points right now. Any questions? Any questions? Any non-Vidu members here? Yes, yes, Suruchi, please go ahead.
So with me, what happens is sometimes, especially with the online market, when you see a product, say for a sari, which is red color, but what the color that is shown on your screen sometimes looks different on my screen because of whatever screen resolution.
Absolutely.
And that is where we get a lot of people saying that, this is not what we saw and I want to return it back. Because I faced it recently, because I had to send 3 blouses to the lady, but still she had the same complaint. So I had to say that, okay, first time, yes, it was a mistake that the guy at my end shipped the wrong color. But the third time, it was not. It was exactly what you had asked for. So I had to literally tell her that, it can be different just because of the screen resolution. So you cannot blame me for that. So that is one thing that I feel sometimes gets in the way, because then that customer is obviously, even though I've done my best, I've sent 3 pieces of blouses, he's not going to come back, or she's not going to come back to.
Okay, so is your question as to how to address it?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing to all of us, Suruchi, I know it is a little difficult for us to accept, okay, but to be an entrepreneur, there's one mindset that we need to have. Customer is always right, however stupid they are. They could be really stupid, huh? Believe me, this is nothing what you're going through. But the customer is always right. Only if you have that mindset, you will not be feeling dejected, rejected, or upset. Okay? Customer is always right. That's it. There ends the matter. So when the customer is always right, you have to ensure that you are at your best. And one statement that you made, it's not my mistake. You can never say that. I know that's a fact. Actually, that's the fact. I agree. But unfortunately, as entrepreneurs, we do not have the luxury to say that. And when we say that, we come across as irresponsible entrepreneurs, which will cost us future clients. When we say that, she will go to social media and write that Suruchi is rude. Okay, she's never going to say Suruchi had a point. No. She'll only go and say Suruchi was rude. When will she know it? When she runs her business. But is it our business to let her know that? No. Right? Let's be selfish. Okay. Let's be very selfish. Just because we don't want the customer to go and write wrong things about us, we should swallow the fact that your customer is stupid or is not willing to listen. And your customer is always right. Have that statement and deal with that point. Sometimes when you have very small kids at home, you know the kid is actually talking stupid, but you play along, right? You play along with the kid. Just do that, Suruchi, because, and in that case, so that is from a psychological or the way you need to deal with them. But how do you practically address this is, you will have to, one, may take precautions upfront by putting a disclaimer while you paste the products itself. Okay, where you have to mention that the color will not be as same as what you see in the thing. It will differ based on the resolution. And if there is any difference in color, we will be giving you a replacement or we will not be giving you a replacement, whatever. Okay, you need to mention that. But most of the times, if it's a color difference, you need to give a replacement, because end of the day, until and unless it's a sale product. Okay, that is why in Amazon, if you notice, there will be a replacement return clause. It's for the customer to read that clause. But beyond the clause also, there'll be some customers who come and really make it bad. But that better to return, otherwise you will have to go and clean up your internet for their bad reviews. Okay, so in your mind, you be prepared that you're going to handle returns. So if you notice, technically also, there will be certain colors which are going to lead to returns. Avoid those colors in your catalog. Or be prepared for those colors, be prepared for returns. You understand? So choice of product. So certain things, the dynamics of the product, these are not going to change. Only your process needs to change, Suruchi. But end of the day, one most important thing is your customer is always right. Okay. The best thing is to, the customer also should not know that you're letting them go. You should give them a very sweet exit. Understand? That will only make you more positive, because you already know you're up for some shit show. Okay. So take that learning, understand the dynamics of the product, choose those products appropriately, avoid colors where the returns could be high. Okay. Create disclaimers. Along with the disclaimers, have a clear process for return, where you will not. Okay. So sometimes even second time, if you replace, they might. So, this color specifically. So come up with whatever could be the possible FAQs that you could think of. Come up with all that even before the sale. You understand, Suruchi? That is the only way to go down. Okay. So hope that answered your question. Yes. Yes. Next, any? Yes, Rama?
Yours is very good perspective. So
Mine is customer's perspective, because end of the day, even in any business, we should do things only from customer in mind. That's the thing. Yes. Yes, Rama.
in recent past, actually, we are into custom fashion. You know how much hard it will be for handling with few customers. Actually, in recent past, what happened is we delivered one blouse for one customer. So our designer was telling her that this blouse, this model, whatever you are asking, back neck, front neck will not go together. Even then she said, no, I want the same. So we made, and we clearly told her that she should not expect a perfect fitting. She said, yes. But after delivering, she started talking about the fitting. So even though we have all the proofs, we cannot say that you said like that or something like that. So finally, we gave her the fabric price and we took over the blouse. And we thought that is the best thing to handle her.
Awesome. Suruchi, looks like white blood, same blood.
Yeah, I mean, it was something similar that even I faced it. Though it was color, initially color, then I sent another blouse. Then somehow, I don't know why, but it got lost during the delivery. It took 4 weeks beyond that to even find out where it got lost. So I sent another one.
I get it.
And still there was still she was
See,
not.
Suruchi, one thing, I'll come back to you, Rama. One thing, extension to Suruchi. Certain, especially businesses like this, will have losses and wastage percentage, I'm not sure about your industry standard percentage, but you know, when you can still make profits when your volumes go up. Work on your volumes. Okay, work on your volumes. At that time, one or two negligent things like this won't really bother you. Okay, it's part of the
So
process.
that is what, no, I got paid for one, but I had to ship like 3 products.
Exactly, I got it. I totally understand your pain. And this solution will happen only when you are, ready for, volume. When in volume business, this will become a negligible ratio, right? So Rama, that's a fantastic thing that you did, because this customer, two things here is the learning that you need to have from here is one, good. The way you address the customer, extremely good. You paid for the fabric and you took the thing back. Great. And what you do with this, that we will come back to it later. But now you should also notice, have a learning that understanding whether this customer does this as a one-off thing, especially since you're in a personalized thing. I'm sure your number of customers could be less, but your billing will be higher.
Yeah.
So when the billing is higher, if things like this happen, your losses are also higher, right? So you must make sure that whenever you come across the same customer, you should have this in mind when you're dealing with the same customer again.
Yep.
Okay. So, and that knowledge needs to be transferred even to your people, not in a wrong way. You should not let the customer go, but you should have this in mind when you're dealing with the customer. Otherwise, it will become a frequent offender types. That's one. So how can you use this? How do you intend to use this blouse?
Yeah, maybe for modeling, we can use it. That is what we thought, because it is a really nice blouse. Even though it is tough, actually, the designer made, he did good job. So we can use it for modeling. So that is what we thought.
Modeling. One more thing, what you could actually do is, you can, especially when you have customers walking into your store, and if you can put it up for sale as well at a super discounted price, specifically mentioning that this is an experiment.
Yeah.
Because there will be some customers who are like discount customers, or it can also be on a one-time usage higher basis.
Yeah.
That is another. Third thing is, you can use this for an educational content on your Instagram reels or things like that, as to why such patterns should not be matched with such patterns.
Yeah.
Educational content. But repurpose the investment. Okay, repurpose the investment so that you get couple of, just try to make some sense out of the investment, right?
Sure.
Super. Yes, we'll take a last question from Shweta. Yes, Shweta.
Ma'am, okay, hi. So basically, for product based, I could understand the concept, but now I'm trying to apply it to mine, which is a service based. I'm giving a
Okay.
service. So now when I'm creating, let's say, I'm creating reels and all for them, I have written a contract. I have made them sign the contract where I've told them that this is like the quality and everything. I've given the number of revisions. Okay, I give extra revisions because the client, I have to give it like a little bit of personal touch and a little bit extra. So are there any things that I can do in beforehand itself to set the expectations with my customer, like so that they know what is it? Like I know when I'm promising them I'm delivering that, but because it's a subjective thing, because
Yeah, correct.
blouse is either it fits or it does not fit. But then when it comes to let's say quality of a content, it's good, or in my head it is good, but I don't know what are they expecting. So
More a gamble.
I'm learning. But how do I approach the customer? What can I tell so that they don't lose faith in my
Clearly educating your customer. Okay, clearly educating. The first point, whenever we discuss customers, first thing we have to start with, customer is always right. Always start whenever you're like super angry, close your eyes, tell yourself customer is always right. Then you start addressing the problem, okay? Because that will save a lot of future problems for you. That's the reason. So Shweta, now coming to your point, first thing, choice of the target audience is very critical in your business, okay? Knowing your business is not for starters. First thing, they will not have money to do experiments. And all that a company with very minimal fund. Okay, any starter has fund only to procure, sell, reprocure. Though we put brand and everything, because today we have tools like Canva and all that where we can do self branding. Okay, but logic, the dynamics is very clear that they have very limited resources. It's not that they don't have the intent to spend, they really don't have the money to spend. Okay, so the priorities are different. And especially social media, will it work? It will work after a long wait. And who's going to fund the long wait? I can fund provided I have the money. The problem is I don't have the money. Starters. So they are not your target. But if you want to cater to the starters, you should come up with a DIY course.
Yeah.
That will help the starter. Help the starter do a DIY with you. Help them to grow their company from 0 to say 10 lakh. Then start billing them for outsource service because they'll be busy. At that time, they will be loyal to your brand because they learned it from you. And now when they want to outsource it, they will outsource it to you. So this is when you want to cater to the starter. But if you try to go convince a starter, the starter may be all pepped up, but over 2 months, 3 months, they will go back and say it's not working. Probably it is working, but it is taking time, and that's the dynamics of your business. So choice of your target audience is very important. And any company which has a separate branding agency and a marketing budget is your target audience. Anything before that will be a dangerous game for you to play. It might end up in no results and bad reviews. So in your case, it's the choice of target audience because the nature of your business is such that.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
your point?
Yeah, makes sense. So I will to ensure that these people get to the level, get to me when they come to that level. I start priming them in the beginning itself by giving them a DIY or offers.
See, you have to be very, very practical about your bandwidth as well. So especially when you're going to cater to a starter, you need to cater at a very, very minimal pricing. But even for that minimal pricing, the expectations are going to be high. And for you to cater to them, you need to have numbers so that you're able to have resources. And when you are spending on resources, it should be giving you some returns. All this has to be factored in. So a pre-planning, pre-budgeting, and pre-target for your business needs to be set.
Correct.
And only then you can see results. Okay, you understand? All this is so important if you really need to hit it right. You get it? It's a good business, but budgets really matter. Budget and time is very, very important for your nature of business. Okay, ideally choosing a target or balancing two. One is a high value target audience and a mass market. Both you should balance.
Correct.
Okay, super.
Helps.
Okay, fine. Hope today's session was helpful. I would love to have your reviews in the group. And 10 a.m. sessions, I would love to have you all at the 10 a.m. because from today, I'm planning to have one point discussed at the 10 a.m. session and one implementation for you to execute, 1 point to ponder every day. I'm planning to have that. So 10 a.m., please join in. Next week, we will do a case study, right? Case study. Fine. Thank you so much and good day to all of you. Bye-bye. Happy rainy day for Chennaiites. And for others, enjoy your weather day. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am.